a virion to the channel. Today, I want to share a story with you. It's not just a story about a truck. It's about a turning point in my life, a moment that completely shifted my perspective. And it all started in a dusty, oil-stained garage right here in Austin. For years, my old truck was more than just a vehicle. It was a part of me. It had seen me through college, through heartbreaks, through late-night drives with the windows down, singing along to the radio. Every dent, every scratch, every rust spot held a memory. It was my reliable, familiar companion. But lately, reliable wasn't the right word. It was spending more time in the shop than on the road. One breakdown after another, each repair bill higher than the last. But I couldn't let it go. I was convinced that if I just kept fixing it, I could keep that part of my life, that version of myself, alive. So, one sweltering Austin afternoon, I found myself in a little garage tucked away on a side street. The mechanique, a guy named Max Tires, took one to Kikedati Alale. I was ready for the usual spiel, the long list of expensive parts I needed, the hours of labor. I had my checkbook ready, prepared to pay whatever it took to get my old friend back on its feet. But Earl didn't give me a quote. He just wiped his hands on a rag, looked me straight in the eye, and said something I'll never forget. "Son," he said, his voice raspy from years of work, "some things aren't meant to be fixed." I started to protest, to explain how much the truck meant to me, but he held up a hand. "They're meant to be replaced," he continued, "with something that fits who you are now." His words hit me harder than any repair bill ever could. Something that fits who you are now. I stood there in that garage, the smell of gasoline and old metal in the air, and I really thought about it. Who was I now? I wasn't that college kid anymore. I wasn't the person who needed a huge truck to haul around. Well, I didn't really haul much of anything anymore. My life had changed. I lived closer to the city center. I cared more about experiences than possessions. I wanted simplicity, freedom, a smaller footprint. I was clinging to this massive, gas-guzzling relic of my past because I was afraid of admitting I had changed. That old truck represented a younger me, a version of myself I thought I was supposed to hold on to forever. But trying to keep it running was like trying to fit into a pair of old jeans from high school. It was uncomfortable, impractical, and frankly, a bit ridiculous. It wasn't serving me. It was draining me, both financially and emotionally. I thanked Earl, not for a repair, but for a revelation. I left the garage and didn't look back. I sold the truck for scrap, and it felt liberating, like I had finally given myself permission to move on. With the little cash I got from it, I walked into a local bike shop. The contrast was stark. Instead of heavy steel and roaring engines, there were lightweight frames and quiet chains. It was a different kind of freedom being offered here. I ended up buying a simple, sturdy bicycle. It wasn't flashy, but it was perfect. The first time I rode it through my neighborhood, I felt an incredible sense of connection to my city that I'd never experienced from behind the wheel of my truck. I could hear the birds, smell the jasmine blooming in people's yards, and feel the sun on my skin. I could stop whenever I wanted, discovering little coffee shops and hidden parks I'd previously sped past without a second thought. That bike wasn't just a new mode of transportation. It was the key to a new life. I started biking everywhere. To the grocery store, to meet friends along the trails by the river. I got healthier, both physically and mentally. The daily rides became a form of moving meditation, a time to clear my head and just be present. My world, which had once been defined by traffic and packing spaces, opened up. It became smaller in the best way possible, more intimate and accessible. I met new people, a community of fellow cyclists who shared a similar outlook on life. We'd go on long weekend rides, exploring the hill country around Austin, powered by nothing but our own two legs. The conversations we had weren't about engine trouble or insurance rates. They were about the beauty of the landscape, the challenge of the next hill, and the simple joy of being outdoors. Looking back, Earl was right. Some things aren't meant to be fixed. We often cling to old jobs, old relationships, old versions of ourselves, pouring endless energy into trying to patch them up long after they've stopped fitting the person we've become. We think letting go is a sign of failure, but sometimes it's the bravest, most necessary act of self-love. It's about making space for something new, something that truly aligns with who we are today and who we want to be tomorrow. My life is so much richer now. It's simpler, yes, but also fuller. That decision to let go of an old truck and buy a simple bike started a chain reaction of positive changes. It taught me that growth isn't about accumulating more. It's about shedding what no longer serves you to make room for what does. So, if there's something in your life that you're constantly trying to fix, maybe take a step back and ask yourself Earl's question: is this meant to be fixed, or is it meant to be replaced with something that fits who you are now? The answer might just change your life. Thank you so much for listening to my story today. I hope it gave you something to think about. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like it, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out. Let me know in the comments if you've ever had a similar experience of letting something go to make way for something better. I'd love to hear your stories. Until next time, take care and ride safe.